Welcome back.
Thank you. What a beautiful day right now outside.
It
It's
is
like the
nice.
perfect temperature for morning coffee and patio sits.
It's Sunday.
It is Sunday. I returned yesterday from Kentucky.
Let's just go into that. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Soup to nuts, as we call it.
I don't know what soup to nuts mean.
Like end to end, start to finish.
Who says soup to nuts?
We do in my world.
Like in your tech world?
Business world, we say soup to nuts.
What does that mean?
I just said that. End
Is
to
it
end.
soup? Are you saying soup?
Soup.
Like
to
soup
nuts.
that you eat?
I don't know. We just say soup to nuts.
You have no idea what that means.
It just means
When-
like.
when you're talking
we're
about
gonna go over
nuts,
the whole
are you
thing.
talking about Pen 15 nuts, or are you talking about like
You're
nuts
thinking
and
overthinking
bolts?
this.
I'm gonna look it up.
You're
'Cause
overthinking
that is not
this.
a normal
We do.
expression.
Well, I just said it. It's like I didn't
Yeah, but
make
we
it
should
up.
figure out what it means.
I don't care though.
Soup to nuts.
Soup to nuts. That's what we say.
Soup to nuts. Who's we? Are you talking about Carhartt?
No, in general. That's just
I know
a
it means
business-
beginning to end. It's an
Yeah.
American expression derived from a traditional structure of a full course meal, where the first course is soup and the last course is nuts with dessert.
There you go. See?
But that's how you should have answered me. If you're
I
going to
didn't know
use,
that.
but if you're going to use that expression, you should have some idea.
No, I don't agree with that. Sometimes we have colloquialisms that we just say.
You can use
You don't know
colloquialisms.
you don't know the root.
You
You don't know
can-
the roots of it.
No, you have to at least have some understanding. So soup to nuts, you need to know what that means. So because it could be sexual, it could be related
I
to
feel like
food.
you're going that way. I didn't think at all the sexualness of it, but you're going
You said
there.
nuts. I have 3 boys.
That's,
So-
you've taken this
Anyway,
a strange term. So
soup to nuts. We left
Trip.
on Thursday morning.
Yep.
I knew there was a bad omen of travel when I got on 90. First of all, your truck is insane. So sometimes the all audio just does not work. And your only option is to pull over and restart the audio, which I had to do 4 times during the trip. That's not normal. We should figure out that quirk.
Yep. I'll empower you to lead that.
Okay,
Sure.
because that's actually crazy. So I get in the car. We're driving almost at 96. We went to Starbucks, and the audio cuts out. I pulled all these parking lot, trying to reset it. Forgot what button to press. Called you. Starting to feel a tidbit frustrated, but whatever. Get in the car, pull on 96, get just about to 275, and realized I left one of my bags.
Ooh, you always gotta check.
Well, I left one of my bags because I couldn't find my cell phone to leave the house, if you recall.
Yes, that was the first thing because you're
Right.
terrible about you lose things.
Everything was traumatic.
You don't
this
have
time. Right.
You don't have a system of putting things. You just put things in random place and you lose them.
So then I call
all
you
the time.
because I'm panicked because I think that the entrance onto 96 East to go back home from 275 is closed because there's so much construction right there. But alas, it was not. So I got to get home in 13 minutes, picked up the bag, we're on the road. It took me 8.5 hours to get to Kentucky, which is typically a 5.5 hour drive.
6 hours.
Six
I would
with
say
stops.
6.
6 with stops. It took me 8.5 hours. I sat in Cincinnati
Because
for
of
an hour and a
traffic
half.
and the Natty. Well, I would say the Natty is notorious.
I don't even want to talk about it.
The Natty is notorious in Dayton, but Natty is notorious for bad traffic.
Also, it's an awful city.
But you did go on a Thursday, so you went during the week at you were there at 2:00, which
When
is
you try to act like I somehow went on a weird time,
no, I'm saying that rush. I'm saying that a Thursday around 2:00 gets into rush hourness.
this is insane, guys. This is the
I'm not
gaslighting that I
blaming
live
you.
with. That my husband is
But
saying
you're
that
not. I'm not blaming
I need you to
though.
stop.
I'm just saying that
He's literally saying that Thursday at 2:00 is rush hour. Now we have some fans
How about
that
let's look-
typically weigh in, and it really means something to me when you guys say actually that's an insane thing to say.
soup to nuts.
Like,
Let's
it's
look
an
up. Let's look
insane
up rush
thing.
hour time. I don't know rush
It's-
hour. I don't go to
It's
work.
certainly not 2:00 on
Let's
a
look
Thursday.
that up.
I can't
Soup
speak
to
to you right
nuts.
now. I'm so upset at you.
Soup to nuts.
So
Let's Google
anyway,
it.
so I finally got there. We got to Kentucky at 5:00.
But you left
and-
at 8, right before 8:30, because I was on the.
Well, I left at 8:00
You
originally,
came
and then I
back
had to come
around
back.
9. Yeah.
So then had a nice time with my sisters. What was really great is we always get hotel rooms, as we spoke about. I had a suspicion this was going to happen, but I
Did
swear
we
I
talk
didn't
about the
orchestrate
hotel
it
thing
a
last
million
time?
times. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know it was going to be orchestrated. I was I wonder, but the girls wanted to stay the night with their cousins. So 2 nights in a row, I got to stay in a hotel by myself, which was glorious.
You're welcome.
It needs to be a part of my life from now on, once a year.
So you were by yourself at night,
Yes.
overnight.
Yeah, and it was so good.
I feel like you had a vacation.
in a quiet, cool hotel room. I put on Instagram, you had the temperature set to 78 in this house. By the way, there's more and more comments, and I had my temperature set to 66.
It felt very nice.
Yeah, you're insane. And so
Very nice.
we both got to sleep in our desired level of comfort temperature wise. So it was a nice trip. I don't think there's too much to report from it. One thing I will
But
report,
what is your, but like, it's like you go there to visit family. So you're not like going to like
no, it's like our
museums and
neighbors like, did
stuff.
you eat good food? And I'm like, I was at my sister's house the whole time.
It's
And
like
so,
visiting.
yeah,
You don't
it's
like
not
go to
sightseeing
places.
at all.
It's just
No.
going back and forth
Yep.
between houses.
I feel wildly blessed that a couple things from the trip, I guess, that our kids have their cousins. It is crazy to me that all of our kids would identify their best friends as being their cousins, all of them. And it's in particular, I think it's special for the Kentucky family because, you know, we don't live by each other, but like best friends. I've said before on this podcast, I will say again, that my siblings and I all choosing to have large families, feeling called to have large families, and then having that be like affirmed through, you know, God's grace is, I think, one of the coolest things in the world, that we are raising our kids in this environment of cousins that just doesn't happen anymore in 2025. So watching the girls play was magical. Then I got real emotional about two things. My nephews now are brothers. They work at Chick-fil-A together.
Yep.
They were like, I was like, hey, I'm going to come to Chick-fil-A when you guys are working. And they were like weirdly excited about it. I'm not going to lie. They were excited to have me stop by, which made me feel good.
Because they feel proud, like, hey, I work here.
Right.
And
they were like, but they were not like embarrassed.
But they didn't give you like a discount though.
They did not.
No, see, they need, you need to someone needs to teach them that.
You
Like,
need to level up.
if you have family members that work at places like that, like you put in the employee discount
Well,
code.
I will tell you that
Like a
when I walked in, they were like genuinely
Because they were
excited
at the
to
cash
see
register.
me. Yes.
You got to put in the discount
Yes,
code.
but it was so cute because like they let me take selfies and they were so excited, and my nephew was like, you know, what name would you like for the order? And then he's like, have a blessed day, because it's Chick-fil-A. And I remember them as so little, and I called you and I told you it's funny because it's crazy to me that my nephew Dylan, who was just born when you and I started dating.
Yeah, he was he was born like a month or two old.
Before we started dating.
He was like a month or two, a couple months
You
old.
almost killed him once at a water park, which I think we can talk about now. Can we talk about it? For years you wouldn't let me talk about it. Yes. So, and this isn't relevant to the story. We went to a water park when we were first married, or were we engaged?
Pregnant.
I was pregnant. We went to a water park with my sister's family. My sister's family, their kids used to be my kids. I loved them. We would do everything with them. So we went to Great Wolf Lodge. We had no children. We stayed with my sister.
You were pregnant.
And their son Dylan was like 1.5 years old. And myself and Aaron were watching Dylan in the like baby section so that Katie and Sean could go ride rides with their big kids. I had to go to the bathroom because I was pregnant. So I was like, Aaron, watch him. And I come out of the bathroom and like all the lifeguards are running towards a kid because Dylan basically was drowning.
No, I had turned away. I had turned my head to like look at the other.
Right.
At the other, like I think Kylie or one of the younger kids.
And I mean,
and his face was in the water.
But you have to admit,
and he was, like,
but for a
splashing
really
around.
long
He, like,
time,
screaming.
for a very long time, you didn't even like to talk about that. Can you admit that you were weird about it?
No, it was always
my
a joke.
sister would affirm it. No, he
was
was
a
weird
joke.
about it because it was very weird. It was actually dangerous. And so, anyways, I was thinking about him being so little and that he's like 15 or 16. But then I was like, so is our kids. Like, it's just a crazy thing how they're all grown up.
Yep.
The other thing I was thinking about is when you and I were dating for like a month, that's the first time you went down to Kentucky. Not even a month. Yes, a month.
Yeah,
exactly 1 month. I had gone to a wedding. We've probably explained it here, but you basically were like, do you want me to come with you? But you were leaving for a mission trip on Sunday. The wedding was on Saturday? Is that factual? I think so. Because I remember we went to the wedding and you left at the crack of dawn and got in a car and drove.
No,
so,
I got a flight. No, I flew back.
you flew. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
Yes,
and then you got in a car.
I flew back from Lexington to Detroit, and then my dad picked me up from the airport, and then I
took teenagers
drove
on a mission trip for a week.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so anyway, it
I was
wasn't.
very tired. That was the first and only time I took. I think I took 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
Which was disgusting.
It wasn't. So it wasn't logical for you to come to this wedding because we had just started dating, and the logistics didn't work out because on Sunday you had to leave for this mission trip that you had committed to. And I remember you're like, hey, maybe I could come, and you know, when you're first dating, you're within like a month of dating. I'm like, is he seriously considering this? So not only that, I don't know if you remember, I had to go early because my sister was getting married, so I went for the bachelor party. So you drove down with my brother,
Who was in his depression?
who was going through
state.
a legit midlife crisis, leaving the seminary after being ordained.
Yep.
You drove down with him.
Correct.
Late at night to get there in time for the wedding. You drove like it was through the night.
No, it wasn't. It was during the day because we were there for the rehearsal.
No, you were, but
we got there the day we got
the day before you got there at nighttime because then you made breakfast in the morning.
It wasn't through the night though. It wasn't.
I thought it was.
No, it was during the day.
So I have these pictures of you in my sister's like kitchen making breakfast for my whole family. Again, we're a month into dating. It is very movie-esque because we have such a big family and like we're introducing you to all these people.
Well, they made me sleep in the basement, which at the time the basement wasn't finished yet, and it was like, oh, like. They had like these like traps. Like, oh yeah, but sometimes we have mice in the basement. So I remember sleeping in the basement.
You went through it for this.
And on like the couch. Like, I remember freezing.
Yes.
Sleeping on a couch. Your brother's like,
and again,
on the
guys,
floor.
we're dating 3 weeks at this point, maybe 4 weeks. Like, it's actually crazy that because we started our first, when you asked me to be your girlfriend was June 2nd. Teresa got married June 20th. So like, that's like way in the beginning of our relationship. So anyway, I was thinking how sweet it was when you were making breakfast and things like that. And then again, we did the wedding, got home late. And then I remember we sat down like on my car outside of Katie's house for a couple hours. So we stayed up even later. And then you got on a flight, drove home, and then went to a mission trip, like a hardcore mission trip where you're not sleeping in your own bed. You're like,
no, that was when we found out about Michael Jackson.
Died. I remember.
We were at the mission trip.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Did you hear Michael Jackson?" I thought we were lying because right. Like, this was 2009. There was very little, like, we didn't have phone reception.
Yeah, it was on the radio.
So we had no clarity. So someone had said Michael Jackson got.
I think I told you that.
We thought everyone was lying. We're like, no, that's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
And then someone had, like, a TV and they turned it on. Yeah. You're like, oh, actually,
Did you cry?
True. No, I didn't.
Okay. But I remember driving home from Kentucky after that weekend being like, I think this is it. Like, I think this is the guy. And then sure enough, you were the guy. So I felt sentimental about all those things. It was a good trip. I do want to tell you something, though, that I saved for the podcast.
Oh.
I was driving home and I was falling asleep.
On the way there, on the way back?
Back.
Okay.
So I needed to play music that would keep me up. So I thought, let's play some old school country. And because I used to listen to country music.
And I hate it. It sounds like
some of these songs
sticking a knife in my ear.
Well, some of these songs are crazy.
They were always bad.
And
garbage.
they came up one by one, but like the first song we listened to was it's something called like Little Girl.
Something with a truck and a girl.
No,
and
this
a
was
dad.
terrible because the kids are listening. And in this song, it says, until Daddy one day, like in a drunk rage, took a gun on his wife and then took his life. And it's a song about this guy killing his wife and himself in front of their daughter. But then their daughter seeing a picture of Jesus and being like, Jesus was with me that night that my daddy killed my mom. And we listen to this, and the girls are like...
and then Phil saw him at the concert.
The girls are like, what? And I'm like, this is actually pretty traumatic. Then the next song that we listened to is a song called Three Crosses. And again, I used to listen to this and not think twice about it. And the storyline of this was there was a teacher and a preacher and a farmer and a hooker. This is the song that get hit by a car and 3 of them die.
Probably hit by a truck.
And the whole time, it was a semi actually. And the whole time you think that the preacher died. But actually, the preacher gave the hooker, and he's using the word hooker, a bloody Bible, and said, like, now you go live a better life, and all the other 3 died. I'm like, what am I even listening to?
Trash. It's all trash.
It was just crazy that we used to listen to this as little kids.
Wasn't we.
Yeah. So anyway, got home yesterday, and again, took 8,000 years to get home. Never doing that drive again. It was nice knowing Kentucky while we knew it. For now on, I fly.
You just got to look up Cincinnati rush hour.
I'm just going to fly. I've become that person. I'm just going to fly to Lexington and rent a car. So yeah, how was your bachelor time? Tell me about it.
Oh, very uneventful. Because I had to work. So you were gone, you left Thursday, you came back Saturday. So I had to work both Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And, after normal hour, just checked emails and caught up on the things.
Yeah.
So very uneventful.
Great.
Cleaned.
Yeah, you cleaned.
Course.
You slaved away at the house.
Clean.
It was so clean. So, yeah.
Watch our wedding video every day because I missed you so much.
Oh, that's cute. Speaking of The Bear,
a lot of that.
Watching The Bear season 4, I'm loving it. I know people think it's slow and dumb, but it's very human. Like, it's very human.
It reminds me of the of the show Schitt's Creek that we used to watch, where there's very little plot movement. It's all about like the characters and like how they interact with each other. And it's like it will take them a season to like walk from one place to the next one. Yeah. It's not about like plot movement. It's about character. It's not about.
But I don't know if you know that I did this morning. I caught myself. We were watching it, and a lot of the characters were screaming, and somebody was trying to talk, and I was like, "Shh!" Like I actually said, "Shh." To the TV.
You realize they can't hear you.
That's when you know that it's a good show, though. Like I'm like there with them in their humanity. So I just think it's a good human show. So we're watching that. People should watch it. I'm gonna say season 3 sucked, but season 1, 2, and 4 are really good. If you know that you're not watching it for some major plot, you're watching it for human interaction. It's good, and it swears a lot. Every other word is the F word, but I love the F word. So.
Yeah, I saw the movie Sinners while you were gone.
I know. I was disappointed that you watched it without me.
I don't think you would have liked it. But the vampires were Irish, so there were some Irish tunes.
I probably would have liked it, honey.
No, you don't like vampires, and there was like a lot of killing and blood.
I watched your one show, John Wick. I watched 4.
But that wasn't like bloody.
That's a lot of killing and blood.
But that wasn't like bloody though.
Oh, I don't like disgusting. I don't like squishy sounds as people are dying. No.
But the vampires are Irish, so they were doing a lot of Irish folk music, which you would have liked some of the Irishness of it.
I do like my Irish heritage.
So maybe you can watch those clips, but you don't need to watch the whole movie. I'll show you the clips.
Great. My foot's falling asleep, so I'm trying to wake it up right now. Okay, so that's that. Anything you want to discuss this morning?
Our boys, it's been a week.
Yep, they're gone to camp. We've talked a lot about camp. What I find particularly hard this time, I think...
We've seen pictures of them.
Yeah, there's some dynamics at play at the camp. Like my oldest is now the youngest in his cabin set, so I worry about him. And then my one son, Joey, is a little quiet and he's on his own, so I worry about him. John Paul seems to be living his best life. I'm not worried about John Paul this time. John Paul is living his best life, I think.
I think that'll be fine.
But I'm a little worried about Joey.
Well, and this is the second week. So the first, now, today, there'll be a whole different set of kids. So some kids will leave. Right. They'll get a new set. So maybe this second week,
I'm looking forward to the Instagram drop when today, every Sunday, they acknowledge campers that are good. Like campers that have been good leaders and good friends. And like tons of kids get it. Let's say 20 campers out of 50.
Joey John Paul has gotten that.
My son Aaron has been there. There's his 5th year. Never gotten it.
Which is not surprising.
It's actually become a thing. No, I disagree with you.
Kids who it doesn't matter. He tries to be silly and all that, so kids like that don't get it.
No.
Kids like Joey who just like quiet, they listen. But
pay attention. Now listen, I was talking to someone. I wasn't calling to complain. I love the camp. It is what it is. I've told Aaron like it is what it is, and actually he thinks it's funny now. He's like it's become a part of the folklore that he does not get this award. But I did say I don't like that. I don't like that you're giving 20 kids an award at a Catholic camp for 4 years in a row and not acknowledging the kid that is a little loud. He's silly, but he's a good kid. Like
those kids don't win those awards.
But
man.
I'm just saying, no, I understand if it was like the camper of the year. There's like 5 kids per 10 people in a cabin. For you to tell me that for 5 years you can't acknowledge one positive thing about my kid, and I don't think it's good for him.
But that's very one-sided though.
I don't think it's good.
They're not thinking about your son. Like remember they have hundreds of kids there. They
don't have hundreds. They have 70 kids this week.
I'm talking about like throughout the summer.
Okay.
I'm saying like
all I'm saying is that I do think at a certain point, I know it actually bothers me. You can laugh at it and that's fine. I think at a certain point you like kind of tell a kid accidentally that they're not a good kid when you do that for 5 years. I don't like that. I don't like that. And actually I talked to somebody about this and they agreed with me. They were like, yeah, that's this many years. Again, he's not like bullying people. He's not being disrespectful. He's just not like the quiet, timid, you need this as an affirmation moment.
He's got to step his game up. I'm sorry.
Whatever. So, this will be the 5th year. So I'm excited for the pictures to drop today at like noon of all of those campers that get it to see him not in it.
Well, it reminds me of Honor Society. Like, hey, man.
Whatever. So he is now, it's become, I think it did used to bother him. Like he would wait every Sunday to see if his name would be called. I don't like it. So anyway, and I talked to another friend whose kid is like a very good, quiet, and I don't know, whatever. It's fine. And they didn't get it either. And it hurts kids' feelings.
It's like always the bridesmaid.
I know, that is, he's Susan Lucci. Do you know that reference or are you too black?
Yeah, she would be... She would get nominated for the Emmys every year, but the streak
for like
was over.
18 years.
She finally won, though.
So maybe this will be
and they were like, the streak is over.
Right. Maybe this will be his Susan Lucci moment today. We'll see. I always hope, but don't expect.
You watch those shows? I never watched any of them. General Hospital, wasn't it?
Yes, I used to get together with my cousins for like a party for the daytime Emmys every year. We watched religiously General Hospital. And what's interesting, and we might have talked about this on the podcast. We've had the podcast so long now, I don't know what we talked about.
I don't think we talked about
What's
General
fascinating
Hospital.
is at this point, I could dip back in and still know what's going on. Like it's general. No, I know because we did talk about it. Because I used to run home from school when a particular character was dying. His name was Stone. He had AIDS. When Stone died, it affected my. But then he
probably unalived himself years later because they realized they found a cure for AIDS.
No, he's
on
dead.
The show, and he
Do
came
you
back.
know that what unalived means?
What?
Do you know what unalive means? Because you just used that in the wrong
context. I meant like alive himself.
Okay, because unalive means kill. That you take your life.
He's probably alive. No, that's not what that means.
When you say
you can know what I've heard that you unalive someone.
You just said he probably unalived himself. That is how people say suicide nicely.
I meant he alived himself.
Okay, that's great. That's not what you said, though.
That's what I meant, though.
Anyway,
so they've been gone for a week, which is very nice.
Yeah, it's been great. I miss them, though. I do miss them. Like, day 2, I'm over this. You don't care.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, you don't care.
It's like, hey, I love you when you're here. When you're not here, same. So
that's a weird thing to
I'll see you at the crossroads.
You are. That's a funny thing to say. That's a weird thing to say.
So next week, we will be going back. That's the thing. You were on. That's why I didn't go this weekend because
like 5 weeks.
Yet again, we have to go back up to Gaylord, which is 3 hours to get them, and then we're doing Cedar Point. So Dad needs a break.
Yeah,
a weekend break.
Well, I mean, I'm living a break every week of my life. That's true. Actually, that is I'm admitting
true.
it. Like I don't. Yeah, we're in a different situation.
You have nothing to break from.
Correct.
Because you're already on break.
My break would be.
So yes, your break is tomorrow through Saturday.
I'm admitting it.
So yes, that is a good point.
Yes.
That is a great point.
July 4th is this week. Let's talk about July 4th. I want to talk about some politics right now. I'm going to read you a line. Did you see what I posted on Facebook?
No.
Okay. So, did you pay attention to any of the court cases?
The Supreme Court case is about the schools and parents able to opt their kids out.
Yeah, which is super interesting. I don't know the context of that one. I got to actually read what it's about. But that if you are in a public school system, a public school class, and there is programming about non-traditional marriage,
correct,
you can opt your children out of those lesson plans.
Which I feel like is a universal. Even like our friend, like I've seen people, I've saw comments about it. People on both sides are like, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And if you want to be consistent about it, like you should support the same way.
Yeah.
They
can opt out of anything faith-based in a
correct.
school. We can't have
it's a religious thing. Like they don't want faith-based things taught. We should be able to say the exact same thing.
I don't want my kid to So I was excited about that one, but the one I'm talking about, which is super interesting, if you didn't follow this, I mean, it's so good. As most people would know, probably we're a bit more on the conservative side, although I don't subscribe to most of the antics on the right. But what I will say is that there was a really important court case that has to do with immigration. We're not even going to dive into immigration. But what's happening is, I'm going to tell you this like you're 5.
Give me the TLDR, though.
I'm going to try.
Give me the
Ready?
TLDR.
Here's what's happening. Lower courts are deciding things regarding immigration that should be decided at a federal level. So like a federal level makes a decision, and then lower courts are reversing that decision. So this went all the way up to Supreme Court. Can lower courts overrule a federal court? Got it? 6-3. The justices said absolutely not.
Correct.
Lower courts cannot overrule a federal court.
Correct.
Jackson, who is the very, very progressive,
Jackson Brown.
Yeah, very, very, very progressive court person, basically was like, you have just handed the president imperial powers. Like, so.
No.
But wait, I know. But
they're
listen.
They're talking about the judiciary.
Yeah, but
branch.
Listen to what Amy Coney Barrett responded. I actually pulled it up.
This is a short quote,
I pulled it up. It's super short.
Like, remember, our listeners don't care about this, so you got to read quick.
So Jackson's dissent was crazy. So then Amy responds, I'm sorry, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett says this.
Who's Catholic?
Catholic, and not a right-leaning person. Like, she's gone against Trump. She says this: we will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only this: Justin Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang, though. So the reason I brought this up, Aaron.
Yeah, get me there, because you've taken a long time on this
one.
one.
The reason I brought this up is when we were driving to Kentucky, we listened to the entire Hamilton soundtrack, start to finish. And of course, as a one-semester history major, I was talking to the girls about this, like, it's again, this like American experiment of the Constitution and how important these documents are. And we celebrate on July 4th our Declaration of Independence from a country, like the cojones.
From a monarchy.
From a monarchy. We declared independence and we fought for it.
Federalism.
It's so beautiful.
Well, people don't like federalism unless when it serves them.
Exactly,
like
right.
It's like states' rights. However, the federal has the ability to override things that they consider unconstitutional.
Well, and what I love about you, and then she goes on to say, of course, that the executive branch is at least elected. Like, some of these judges are appointed, right?
All of them are.
Lower.
Like,
don't we vote for judges, honey?
At the county.
Yeah.
County judges.
Yeah.
Local judges.
Yeah. So she's basically saying there's elected officials at least making this decision versus these random activist judges somewhere in California. So I actually, the whole thing, as we approach July 4th, I get a little patriotic about these things and about the beauty of our Constitution. You've spoken about that too. Like that the document itself protects us from so much. That's why you don't panic a lot about things happening at a national level, because you're like, we have the Constitution. Amen.
Right. You realize how good, like, how it holds up, like, and that's why you have amendments, and like, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hard to change things, right? It's hard to get laws put into place. It's hard to make amendments. Like, it's very hard to get a large amount of people to agree, which is the point, because that means that things stay in place and things are as it was written when we first established this country.
And let's take this at
because
another
you don't
level.
want people always talk about they want flexibility, but you don't want flexibility because then things change.
Right.
And what do you hold constant?
Let's also talk about this at another level, which I think is interesting for you as a black man as we approach July 4th. Are you ready? I love that our country is not perfect and broken. It has many histories of terrible things, but like Justice Clarence Thomas, do you remember him?
Yep.
He's still alive. We watched a documentary on him where he was talking about something like slavery in this country and the Jim Crow laws. And he's like, what's so beautiful about this country is it is our founding documents that made those things unconstitutional and reversed. Like, it's because of the documents that were written that we were able to say slavery is wrong. We can't have a different set of standards for black men and women. So I love when he reflects on that too, because there is some like blended history. Like George Washington, it is funny. You have to like ignore the fact that he owned slaves and thought black people weren't really humans.
Well, so did your family, but
what?
Move past
My
that.
family did not own slaves. Nope. I need you to take it back. Take backsies. Take backsies. Why are you saying that?
We found the historical records.
You're such a liar. I hate you.
They did.
Anyway, so you can celebrate July 4th.
That's called whitewashing when you change your family's history.
I need you to, you're doing that thing, and it actually bothers me so much when you do this.
Why? It's okay.
I think, just so you know, guys,
you are
Aaron,
not, the sins of the father do not go down to the child.
Aaron sometimes does this to me where he starts to just tell total lies, but he says it constantly until it becomes like truth, right? So like he's done this. I went to Tanzania when I was in college, and he always tells people, well, I mean, it was South America or South Africa. It wasn't really Africa. And I'm like, I went to Tanzania, but he has a million people convinced, by the way, that I'm like protesting too much and that I actually went to South Africa.
Here's the thing. You shouldn't be
Stop. You know this is not true.
You shouldn't be upset or ashamed by your family's history.
We did not own slaves. In fact, I think my parents, to be honest,
okay, Trump.
especially,
go ahead,
I'm not going to talk about my mother's family,
go
which
ahead,
I think
Trump.
My mother's family is a different story, but my father's family, at least from their time, from the grandfather on, they were very committed to equality. Like they were like Trump. The people that lived in solidarity. Why are you calling me Trump? I don't get it.
Because that's what Trump always says. I am the least racist person that you've ever met
no,
before.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that my dad, at least, like his family was very committed to, like as they were growing up in the 60s and 70s, equality.
Yeah.
So anyway, anything new with you? Anything else you want to discuss on this here podcast? We discussed July 4th and patriotism. Thank you, Amy Coney Barrett.
We're going to your brother's.
We already discussed
house
this. Yep, we already discussed it. Yep.
What else is going on this week?
You locked down some big keynote person for your Data Nerd conference, and I'm proud of you. Not you, but like your team did.
Yeah, we got a conference in November. We got a sponsorship package.
Did anybody commit to it yet?
No, we haven't sent it out yet because it's evolving.
It's evolving, so.
It's evolving. So we're trying to figure out the night before the conference, we're going to have a reception. So we realized we should have somebody also sponsor that too. Right. So we have to add that.
You should get this rolling though, bro, because we're in like July and the conference is in November. Though. Yeah.
Yeah, but then next week we're going to send stuff out.
No, next week's July 4th.
We're making things happen.
Great. I'm excited for you. I'm so excited about your side business that you didn't ask permission to open with an LLC.
Nope, I asked you the whole time.
No, that's actually
you are the least supportive person I know about all this.
Do you actually believe that to be true?
I would say you silently judge the whole time.
Do you believe that to be true?
At the end, you're like, this is very good, but during the process...
Nope. I feel like all I've done is asked for communication. I'm actually super supportive. Like, I was super psyched for you when you said you got this keynote guy that you're excited about. That stuff matters. I'm psyched for you. All I ask for is communication, which I think is a fair thing to ask for. But you don't. You feel like you should be able to open actual businesses without a discussion with your wife, which I think is strange.
True. We've talked about this. This is a previous conversation.
I know. I'm just referencing it.
We went into a fight.
I'm just doing a throwback.
Like it was like a minor fight.
Today's the parish's 75th anniversary. I don't want to talk too much about DC, but we'll be going there for a picnic after. It's going to be a busy mass.
Yes.
It's going to be a bishop there. It's going to be a very busy mass.
Which bishop?
Quinn. Do you know who he is? He was here and then got moved out. Here's the thing. All of our bishops are in Rome right now for the Palladium. Pallium. The Palladium. The Pallium. I don't actually know the word. What's really funny is that Father Mario is there with him, who is a dear family friend. That boy is going to be a bishop if he says yes. Like, there's this picture of all these bishops and then him on the side. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's funny. So I made him promise that when he gets bishoped, that I can read at his bishop mass.
Okay, that's how that works.
I feel like he's not going to let me, to be honest. I feel like he promised that at his ordination. Because at his first mass, I think I read.
That'd be like 30 years away.
It's not 30 years away. It's 10 years away. But Father Mario will be a bishop in 10 years. I'll put money on it. How much do you want to bet?
No.
I'll bet you $100,000.
Bro, I think that as the church and the Metro Detroit area shrinks, like all these like auxiliary bishops that we have, I think they're going to shrink that down substantially.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I think you're going to have Archbishop. You're not going to have
10 years. What is today? What year? 2025. By 2035, Mario will be a bishop. Father Mario.
I'm going to say something else.
Okay, because we need another topic.
Yeah, I mean, we're like DC, implant. Not the word.
We're not.
Yeah. We've not been in that parish long enough, so I feel like the 75th means probably something to a lot of people. Yeah. But our family, we're in like year 5 of it. So
my girlfriend's coming to the 75th picnic afterwards, and she was like, "I'm going to go to a different mass because it is going to be a long mass." Yeah. And I thought about that, but no, I think there's something really beautiful about like the longevity of a parish like that.
But we don't have multi-generational. No, of course not.
Yeah, no. So for other people, it means probably.
So it means something. Like, oh, my dad and my grandparents went here, and we were part of the first. Like mass, and we used to be at
Dearborn Fathers, like the Murrays.
It used to be at the elementary school, and So we're just like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just cool.
Cause we're like nomads. We're like we don't have.
No, we don't have any. I have no allegiance to any place beyond. I mean, obviously DC. Our kids go to school there now. I think Malia and Julia will probably go up through DC until they will feel like DC is their home. Malia and Julia for sure.
Yes.
More than Aaron even, because Aaron didn't go in there until 5th grade. Like they'll feel like DC is there. They will feel that like something. Like I did to St. Colette's growing up. You didn't have an allegiance to a church growing up.
I still don't. I'm a nomad.
Not St. Colette? You wouldn't say St. Colette where you were baptized? That means something to you? Not really, because you were only there for a couple of years?
Yeah, we left, though.
Yeah.
I don't think we were ever, like, registered parishioners there.
No, we weren't. Nope. Okay.
So, no, we're just looking for a home. We don't have a home. But I feel like that is unless your family has a strong...
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
...tie to, like DC, because they have a school.
Yeah.
But I think parishes that don't have schools, I think that is very rare to have people with that strong a tie to a parish like that.
Yeah.
That is an older concept that I think will go away.
It is shifted and alternative. Yes.
But the school and the high school helps DC because they have a strong alumni and family base. So
Yeah. Anything else that you want to discuss this week before we go inside?
No.
No, it's slow summers, right? Like we're in slow summers, so.
Slow summers. Mm-hmm. So we'll So next Sunday we'll be picking our boys up from camp.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll record next Sunday night or Monday.
Or maybe we'll record from the hotel Saturday evening. You know.
Oh, yeah, because we are going up the night before.
Right, because they have, like, this family day.
So they do this thing, which you like. I'm just like, blah. They, like, sing songs, and they just... You're yawning.
No, I want to clarify. I don't like it. I like to see my kids.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like to ever sit around a campfire with bugs. Let me be very clear. There is no part of me that ever wants to be outside with bugs. Do you know what I mean?
It's cute at first, but then just keeps going, and you're just sitting
No, it's cute for I like to see my kids, but, like, I don't...
I'm talking about because you're, like, sitting in this big, like, around this fire pit, and, like, singing all these songs and doing these skits and all that.
And there's ants and bugs. Like,
and then you're like, okay, when is this thing over? Like, guys, let's wrap this up.
No, it's cute. It's cute.
Like,
and the boys
let's wrap this up pretty quickly.
But, yeah, so we'll go for that. But I love seeing the boys for the first time. And they get excited to see us. Aaron won't. Joey and John Paul will. So.
John Paul will. I think Joey will, but he just can't express it.
He can't express it.
He's not capable of expressing it.
He is not. Little.
No, what they'll do is like, hey, can we get? Because they sell like hot dog and chips, but like, can we get a hot dog? Can we get pop? So they'll be asking us for like.
You
food.
should let them have it.
They'll be asking us for food.
Right.
Immediately.
Okay, that was a great podcast episode. Kind of lame for the summer, but I mean patriotism. Yeah, July 4th.
You have a playlist, right? Your July 4th playlist.
Oh yeah, I really care.
Which is different than your Memorial Day.
Well,
playlist.
and I want to go back to Amy Coney Barrett, even though even though you made me feel bad about it. What I'm trying to say about it is the brilliance of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary branch all working together, checks and balances. Like, it's so brilliant, and I love that there is a Supreme. Wait, listen, but there's a Supreme Court justice out there that is actually being like, by the way, we should give authority to the judiciary branch, which was not elected. And I love that someone's like, no, actually, that's not how this works.
Well, I think it's the nature of power. Each branch stretches its limits.
Yes.
Like, they stretch. Like, the executive branch with Trump, he stretches the limits of his power, and like, he gets sued.
Yep.
The judiciary branch, like, they stretch their limits because people are like, well... Like, yeah, like, the judiciary, they're not lawmakers. Like, they
are the most dangerous branch, to be honest.
They do not create laws. Yeah. So when people say, well, overturn this and overturn that, like, no, they're not created to, they're not there to create laws.
Right.
And legislative branch, like, they can create laws that are stupid and dumb, and, like, they have to be overridden, which happens a lot. So... But each of them stretches the limits. Like,
they do. They push it, but that's what the Constitution is for, with the checks and balances.
It's like you push your limits all the time.
I get it. But
and
that's
I have
what
to check
I mean.
you. I have to check your power.
That's why I love the founding of our nation. You know what I mean? Like, it is absolutely beautiful. We should watch some patriotic-ish this weekend.
Yeah, for you it was good. The founding of the nation was good for you.
But we already talked about that. Remember, Clarence? I circled to that, and I said...
It was good for you.
I said, yes. That's why we circled to that. And I said, Clarence Thomas has been very clear that it was good for him, too, eventually.
Let's just say if we had a time machine... One of us would go back to that. One of us would not go back to that.
But you should... What I'm saying is you should be proud of these documents, too, like the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, because it was eventually what brought truth to the human atrocity of slavery or Jim Crow laws and things like that. Like, that's the point I'm trying to make, not super articulately.
Yep.
Is that it is because of these documents that we can say slavery can't happen in this country.
Soup the nuts.
We cannot kill.
Well, I would say that was more so through blood. That was not a Supreme Court.
No.
But so it came through blood. Like we said, we actually had a conversation about peace.
We talked about it. Yeah.
I don't think we did.
We did.
Maybe. Essentially, peace comes through blood. So it wasn't like some Supreme Court case.
I understand. But what I'm saying is that the Constitution is what helped people understand it. Like that
once the North won the war.
And I'm telling you, when we get to a point...
Actually, I would say that's more 20th... You're talking about more of a 20th century understanding of that. In the 19th century, that was when, like, you needed a war to get through that.
Yeah.
But you're talking about 20th century, like, civil rights era.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But
and that's what Clarence Thomas was talking about.
Eventually, we got
Clarence Thomas was not talking about slavery. He was actually talking about Jim Crow, segregation, all of those things.
Yes, that is a late 20th century
due to, though, our documents. And so it is beautiful. And I think, I'll say this gently because we don't want to ever be divisive. There was a movement in our country over the last 8 years to like erase patriotism, like it's a bad thing, and patriotism is actually a really beautiful thing.
You're talking about the statues.
I'm talking about
turn on the statues.
Progressive understanding of patriotism.
I don't know what that means. You're mincing your words.
Yes.
Just say your words. Say it.
Okay, I mean,
You're mincing words. This is our podcast.
Under liberal leadership or progressive leadership, patriotism takes a backseat as something that's like wrong or evil or dangerous.
Afraid. Yes,
and I think actually patriotism is beautiful, and I think it can be a true celebration of good if you are pursuing truth, beauty, and goodness in your country. So I am patriotic.
Well, I think people are,
and I feel like I have permission to be patriotic again through the administration.
Well, I think there's like this shame. I think you should realize that every family has there's shame in every family. Like every story has shame to it. I think there's people who are ashamed, like going to World Youth Day. I remember people being like, well, should we wave around our American flags? Like, yeah, you should be proud of where you come from. You should be proud of your family.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what this week is about.
Look at the lineage of Jesus. There was some very weird stuff that happened in Genesis with his family and where he came from.
Right.
You
but
should not
I guess
be ashamed
here's the thing. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Are you going to forget the men who died?
I won't. They gave their lives for me.
You should stand up.
Next to you and defend her still today. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Yes.
That's a perfect way to end this podcast. Amen.
All right. So we'll see you next time.
Yep.